Shri Satchidananda Sadguru Sai Maharaj Ki Jai. Chapter 33. Greatness of Uddhi. Scorpion sting and plague cases cured. Jamna miracle. Narayana Rao's sickness. Balabur Sutar. Appasahib Kulkarni. Haribol Karnik. In the last chapter we described the greatness of the Guru. Now in this we will describe the greatness of Uddhi. Preliminary. Let us bow now before the great saints. Their merciful glances will destroy mountains of sins and do away with all the evil taints of our character. Their casual talk gives us good teachings and confers on us imperishable happiness. Their minds do not know any difference, such as this is ours and that is yours. Such differentiation never arises in their minds. Their debts, obligations will never be repaid by us in this birth as well as in many future births. Uddhi. It is well known that Baba took dakshina from all, and out of the amount thus collected, he spent a lot on charity and purchased fuel with the balance left with him. This fuel he threw in the dunni, the sacred fire which he kept ever burning. The ash from this fire was called Uddhi, and it was freely distributed to the devotees at the time of their departure from Shirdi. What did Baba teach or hint by this Uddhi? Baba taught by his Uddhi that all the visible phenomena in the universe are as transient as the ash. Our bodies composed of wood or matter of the 5 elements will fall down after all their enjoyments are over and be reduced to ashes. In order to remind the devotees of the fact that their bodies will be reduced to ashes, Baba distributed Uddhi to them. Baba also taught by the Uddhi that the Brahman is the only reality and the universe is ephemeral, and that no one in this world, be he a son, father or a wife, is really ours. We come here in this world alone and we have to go out alone. It was found, and is even now found out, that the Uddhi cured many physical and mental maladies, but Baba wanted to din into the devotees' ears the principles of discrimination between the unreal and the real, non-attachment for the unreal by his Uddhi and Dakshina. The former, Uddhi, taught us discrimination, and the latter, Dakshina, taught us non-attachment. Unless we have these two things, it is not possible for us to cross over the sea of the mundane existence. So Baba asked for and took Dakshina, and while the devotees took leave, he gave Uddhi as prasad, besmeared some of it on the bhaktas' foreheads, and placed his boon-conferring hand on their heads. When Baba was in a cheerful mood, he used to sing merrily. One such song was about Uddhi. The burden of the Uddhi song was this: "O playful Rama, come, come, and bring with you sacks of Uddhi." Baba used to sing in very clear and sweet tones. So much about the spiritual implication of Uddhi. It had also its material significance. It conferred health, prosperity, freedom from anxiety, and many other worldly gains. So the Uddhi has helped us to gain both our ends, material as well as spiritual. We shall now begin with the stories about the Uddhi. Scorpion sting. Narayan Motiram Jani of Nasik was a devotee of Baba. He was serving under another devotee of Baba by name Ramachandra Vaman Modak. Once he went to Shirdi with his mother and saw Baba. Then Baba himself told her that he, her son, should serve no more but start independent business. Some days after, this prophecy turned true. Narayan Jani left service and started a boarding house, Anandashram, which thrived well. Once a friend of this Narayan Rao was stung by a scorpion, and the pain caused by it was severe and unbearable. Uddhi is most efficacious in such cases. It is to be applied on the seat of pain, and so Narayan Rao searched for it, but found none. Then he stood before Baba's picture and invoked Baba's aid, chanted Baba's name, and taking out a pinch of the ashes of the joss stick burning in front of Baba's picture, and thinking it to be Baba's Uddhi, applied it on the seat of pain and the sting. As soon as he took out his fingers, the pain vanished, and both the persons were moved and felt delighted. Bubonic plague case. Once a devotee in Bandra came to know that his daughter, who was staying in another place, was down with bubonic plague. He had no Uddhi with him, so he sent word to Nana Sahib Jandorkar to send the same. Nana Sahib got this message on a road near the Thana railway station, when he was travelling with his wife to Kalyan. He had no Uddhi with him at that time. He therefore took up some earth from the road, meditated upon Sai Baba, invoked his aid, and applied it on the forehead of his wife. The devotee saw all this, and when he went to his daughter's house, he was very glad to learn that his daughter, who was suffering for 3 days, began to improve from the very moment Nana Sahib invoked Baba's aid near the Thana railway station. The Jamna miracle. About 1904 to 1905, Nana Sahib Jandorkar was Mamlatdar at Jamna in the Gandesh district, which is more than 100 miles distant from Shirdi. His daughter Monatai was pregnant and was about to deliver. Her case was very serious and she was suffering from labour pains for the last 2 or 3 days. Nana Sahib tried all remedies, but they proved in vain. He then remembered Baba and invoked his aid. There in Shirdi, one Ram Girbua, whom Baba called Bapu Girbua, wanted at this time to go to his native place in Gandesh. Baba called him and told him to take a little rest and stop at Jamna on his way home and give the Udi and Arti to Nana Sahib. Ramgir Bua said that he had only 2 rupees with him and that amount was barely sufficient for the railway fare up to Jalgaon, and it was not possible for him to go from Jalgaon to Jamna, a distance of about 30 miles. Baba assured him that he need not worry as everything would be provided for him. Then Baba asked Shama to write the well-known Arti composed by Madhav Adkar. A translation of this is given at the end of this work, and give a copy of it with Udi to Ramgir Bua to be delivered to Nana Sahib. Then, relying on Baba's words, Ramgir Bua left Shirdi and reached Jalgaon at about 2:45 a.m. He had only 2 annas left with him and was in a hard plight. To his great relief, he heard somebody calling out, "Who is Bapu Girbua o Shirdi?" He went to him and told him that he was the person, Bapu Girbua. Then the peon, professing to be sent by Nana Sahib, took him out to an excellent donga with a good pair of horses. They both drove in it. The donga ran fast, and early in the morning they came to a brooklet. The drive took the horses for watering them, and the peon asked Ramgir Bua to partake of some eatables. On seeing the beard, moustache, and the livery of the peon, Ramgir Bua suspected him to be a Muslim and was unwilling to take any refreshments from him, but the peon satisfied him by saying that he was a Hindu, a Kshatriya of Garhwal, and that Nana Sahib had sent these refreshments, and that there should be no difficulty nor any doubt about acceptance. Then both of them took the refreshments and started again. They reached Jamna at dawn. Ramgir Bua alighted to attend a call of nature, passing urine, and returned within a few minutes, but found that there was no donga, no driver, and no peon. He was dumbfounded. Then he went to the neighbouring Kacheri and, making inquiries, learnt that the Mamlattar was at home. He went to Nana Sahib's house and announced himself and gave to Nana Sahib Baba's Udi and Arti. At this time, Manatai's case was in the most serious condition, and all were in deep anxiety about her. Nana Sahib called out his wife and asked her to give the Udi mixed with water to their daughter to drink and sing Baba's Arti. He thought that Baba's help was most opportune. In a few minutes came the news that the delivery was safe and that the crisis had passed away. When Ramgir Bua thanked Nana Sahib for the peon, danga and the refreshments, etc., the latter was greatly surprised, as he had sent none to the station and was not aware of any person coming from Shirdi. Mr. B.V. Deo of Tanna, retired Mamlatta, made inquiries about this matter with Bapu Rao Chandorkar, son of Nana Sahib and Ramgir Bua of Shirdi, and after satisfying himself wrote an elaborate article, part prose and part poetry, in Shri Sai Leela magazine, volume 13, numbers 11, 12 and 13. Brother B.V. Narasimha Swami has also taken down the statements of 1. Menatai, number 5, page 14, and 2. Bapu Sahib Chandorkar, number 20, page 50, and 3. Ramgir Bua, number 27, page 83, dated 1st June 1936, 16th September 1936, and 1st December 1936, respectively, and published them in his Devotees' Experiences, Part 3. The following is quoted from Ramgir Bua's statement. One day Baba called me to him and gave me a packet of Udi and a copy of Baba's Arti. I had to go to Gandesh at the time. Baba directed me to go to Jamna and told me to deliver the Arti and Udi to Nana Sahib Chandorkar at Jamna. I said to Baba that all I had was 2 rupees and asked him how that could take me by train from Gopagram to Jalgaon and next by cart from Jalgaon to Jamna. Baba said, "God will give." That was Friday and I started at once. I reached Manmad at 7:30 p.m. and Jalgaon at 2:45 a.m. At that time plague regulations were enforced and I had much trouble. I was to discover what I should do to get to Jamna. At about 3 a.m. a peon in boots, turban and well equipped with other details of good dress came to me and took me to the donga and drove me on. I was in terror. On the way at Bagur, I took refreshments. We reached Jamna early in the morning, and by the time I attended my call of nature, the donga and its driver had disappeared. Page 83. Narayana Rao. Bhakta Narayana Rao, father's name and surname were not given, had the good fortune to see Baba twice during the latter's lifetime. 3 years after the passing away of Baba in 1918, he wanted to come to Shirdi, but he could not come. Within a year of Baba's Mahasamadhi, he fell sick and suffered much. All ordinary remedies gave him no relief, so he meditated on Baba day and night. One night he had a vision in his dream. Baba coming to him through a cellar comforted him, saying, "Don't be anxious, you will be improving from tomorrow, and within a week you will be on your legs." Narayana Rao got perfectly well within the time mentioned in the vision. Now the point for consideration is this: was Baba living because he had the body, and was he dead because he left it? No, Baba is ever alive, for he transcends both life and death. He who loved him once wholeheartedly gets response from him, at any time and at any place. He is always by our side and will take any form and appear before the devout bhakta and satisfy him. Appasaheb Kulkarni. In 1917, the chance of one Appasaheb Kulkarni came. He was transferred to Tanna and began to worship Baba's picture presented to him by Balasaheb Bhatti. In real earnest he did the worship. He offered flowers, sandal paste and Navedya daily to Baba in the picture, and longed intently to see him. In this connection it may be remarked that seeing Baba's picture earnestly is equivalent to seeing him in person. The following story illustrates this statement. Balabur Sutar. A saint of Bombay named Balabur Sutar, who, on account of his piety, devotion and bhajan, was called Modern Tukaram, came to Shirdi for the first time in 1917. When he bowed before Baba, the latter said, "I know this man since 4 years." Balabur wondered and thought, how could that be, as that was his first trip to Shirdi? But thinking about it seriously, he recollected that he had prostrated himself 4 years ago before Baba's portrait at Bombay, and was convinced about the significance of Baba's words. He said to himself, how omniscient and all-pervading are the saints, and how kind are they to their bhaktas. I merely bowed to his photo. This fact was noticed by Baba, and in due time he made me realize that seeing his photo is equivalent to seeing him in person. Appasaheb Kulkarni. To return to Appasaheb's story, while he was in Tanna he had to go on tour to Bhiwandi and was not expected to return within a week. In his absence, the following wonderful thing took place on the third day. At noon, a fakir turned up at Appasaheb's house. His features resembled exactly those of Baba's photo. Mrs. Kulkarni and the children all asked him whether he was Sai Baba of Shirdi. He said no, but that he was an obedient servant of his and came there at his order to inquire after the health of the family. Then he asked for dakshina. The lady gave him a rupee. He gave her a small packet of udi and asked her to keep this in the shrine along with the photo for worship. Then he left the house and went away. Now hear the wonderful Leela of Sai. Appasaheb could not proceed with his tour as his horse fell sick at Bhiwandi. He returned home that afternoon and learnt from his wife about Fakir's visit. He smarted in his mind as he did not get the darshan of the Fakir, and he did not like that only 1 rupee was paid as dakshina. He said that had he been present he would have offered not less than rupees 10. Then he immediately started in quest of the Fakir and searched for him in the masjid and other places without taking any food. His search was in vain. He then returned home and took his food. The reader may remember here Baba's dictum in chapter 32 that God's quest should not be made on an empty belly. Appasaheb got a lesson here about this. Then after meals he went out for a walk with a friend, Mr. Chitre. Going some distance they saw a man approaching them rapidly. Appasaheb thought that he must be the fakir that came to his house at noon, as his features tallied with those of Baba in the photo. The fakir immediately put forth his hand and asked for dakshina. Appasaheb gave him a rupee. He demanded again and again, and so Appasaheb gave him 2 more. Still he was not satisfied. Then he borrowed 3 rupees from Mr. Chitre and gave them to him. He wanted still more. Appasaheb asked him to accompany him to his home. Then they all returned home, and Appasaheb then gave him again 3 rupees, in all 9. He looked unsatisfied and demanded again. Then he told him that he had a currency of 10 rupees. The fakir asked for the same and took it and returned the 9 rupees in cash and went away. Appasaheb had said that he would pay 10 rupees, and that sum was taken from him, and 9 rupees consecrated by Baba's touch were returned to him. The figure 9 is significant. It denotes the 9 types of devotion, read chapter 21. It may also be noted here that Baba gave 9 rupees to one Lakshmi Bai Shindi at his last moment. Appasaheb examined the udi packet and found that it contained some flower petals and dakshata. Then some time afterwards he got a hair from Baba when he saw him at Shirdi. He put the udi packet and the hair in a talisman and always wore it on his arm. Appasaheb realized the power of the udi. Though he was very clever, he got 40 rupees as pay in the beginning. But after he secured Baba's photo and his udi, he got many times 40 rupees per month, and also got much power and influence. And along with these temporal benefits, his spiritual progress was also rapid. So those who are fortunate enough to get Baba's udi should, after bath, apply it on the forehead and take some little of it mixed with water in the mouth as holy tirth. Haribol Karnik. In 1917, Haribol Karnik of the Hannu, Tanna district, came to Shirdi on the Guru Purnima day in the month of Ashadha and worshipped Baba with all formality. He offered clothes and dakshina, and after taking Baba's leave through Shama, got down the steps of the masjid. Then he thought that he should offer 1 more rupee to Baba and was just turning to get up when Shama informed him by signs that as he had got Baba's leave he should go and not return. So he started home. On his way, when he went into the temple of Galarama at Nasik for darshan, the Saint Narsingh Maharaj, who used to sit just inside the big door of the temple, left his bhaktas there, came to Haribal, caught his wrist and said, "Give me my 1 rupee." Garnik was surprised. He paid the rupee most willingly and thought that Sai Baba recovered the rupee which he intended in his mind to give, through Saint Narsingh Maharaj. This shows how the saints work in unison. This story illustrates the fact that all saints are one and shows how they work in unison. Bow to Shri Sai, peace be to all. Shri Satchidananda Sadguru Sai Nath Maharaj Ki Jai.